Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tiffany and in today's video we are doing part 2 of my 3-part Thanksgiving series. Today we are talking all things Thanksgiving menu. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm so glad you guys are here. Before we go any further in today's video, I wanna go ahead and thank our sponsor, Pair Eyewear. You know how regular glasses cost a fortune, and you're basically stuck with just one look. Yeah, not with Pair Eyewear. Pair makes changing your style easy, affordable, and super fun. Base frames start at just $60 and top frames only $25. That means I can switch up my look as often as I want to without breaking the bank. And yes, shipping's free too in the United States and in Canada if you hit $100. It's literally that easy. Order your base frame and boom, snap on your top frame and within seconds you have an entirely new look. There are 18 different base frames in all different styles, shapes, and colors, and over 400 unique top frames. Everything from sun tops, blue light protection, and prescription options. And they've even got styles for men, women, and kids. Of course, they have lens options. Premium plus lenses for strong prescriptions, light responsive for seamless indoor-outdoor transition, blue light add-ons, even high-quality progressive lenses. And if you don't need a prescription, no problem. They've got you covered too. I'm wearing the Peyton base frame in tortoise shell. I got these in just blue light protection for when I'm editing my videos, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I get so many compliments when I wear these that I wear them all the time. And Pair keeps things fresh with new collections almost 3 times a month, plus collabs with brands like Marvel, Harry Potter, Friends, and Van Gogh. So yeah, glasses aren't boring anymore. And get this, you don't even have to leave your house to find the perfect fit. Their virtual try-on tool allows for you to digitally try on different frames. Plus there's a 30-day return policy just in case you change your mind. So if you're ready to ditch overpriced glasses and have some fun with your style, then definitely check out Pair Eyewear. Click the link in my description box or use the QR code here on the screen and use my code CharlotteGift15. That's gonna get you 15% off your first order. I absolutely love my Pair Eyewear. I wear them all the time. I get so many compliments. Definitely check them out to find your new style today. And thank you again to Pair Eyewear for sponsoring today's video. By raise of hand, who else is feeling incredibly excited but equally as overwhelmed about Thanksgiving? Although this is only a 1-day holiday, unlike the seasons for the other ones, I feel like this one just gives me a lot of anxiety and I have to be well prepared going into this one. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna be talking about my Thanksgiving menu. I'm gonna share with you some tips and tricks that I've learned over the past several years of hosting. And I'm also gonna share a couple of fun recipes with you. I'm gonna do an appetizer, a dessert, as well as a cocktail. So this is year 4 of us hosting Thanksgiving here in our home. And it is a bittersweet holiday. We lost my father-in-law, unfortunately, in June of 2024. So this will be our second Thanksgiving without him, and I don't feel like it's ever gonna get easier. Thanksgiving is that holiday where we all come together, we talk about what we're thankful for, and we get to enjoy delicious food. Food that you wouldn't normally eat on a regular basis. Tell me down below in the comments, do you eat Thanksgiving staples outside of Thanksgiving Day? I can tell you right now, we definitely don't. I never make turkey. I definitely don't ever make a green bean casserole or anything like that. I think the only thing I would say we eat on a regular basis that, you know, from the Thanksgiving meal would be salad and dinner rolls. Everything else is a one-time-a-year thing, which makes it extra special, right? So our menu, I would say, is pretty darn traditional. There's always a turkey. For us, we do 2. My mother-in-law bakes a turkey and Danny fries a turkey. So incredibly good. We have never brined a turkey first, and we're doing that this year. Brining the turkey is happening. So gotta make sure we have enough time and remember to do that. One tip I will tell you that I think is fantastic seasoning on a turkey is Lowry's seasoned salt. So good. Let's be honest, it's just salt, garlic, and celery salt, and it is so yummy. So good just on a buttered turkey. We do all the traditional fixings, mashed potatoes, stuffing. My mother-in-law makes homemade stuffing. She chops up all of the bread the day before, lets it get, you know, nice and dry, uses that as her breadcrumbs. And she does some stuffing in the turkey and then dressing on the side. We also do some sweet potatoes or yams, some candied yams, just yams with butter and brown sugar, some of my absolute favorite. I always bake a ham because I love a ham, my kids love a ham. Of course, you can't pass up the green bean casserole, and I do always like to have a side salad for those who just want to make sure they get something fresh. You never can forget the rolls as well as your gravy. And then of course there's dessert, right? My mother-in-law every single year makes pumpkin pies with my kids from scratch, straight from the pumpkin pie pumpkins, those little tiny ones. She doesn't even use canned pumpkin, which I love. She also makes an apple pie with the kids. We always have a cheesecake. My mother-in-law has a delicious cheesecake recipe that she has passed down to us, and usually Michaela is the one to make that. I also love to make chocolate covered strawberries. This year though, we're gonna zhuzh it up a little bit. We're gonna try a pumpkin cheesecake. Cheesecake Factory has a delicious pumpkin cheesecake. I absolutely love it. So I think we're gonna give that a try this year. And tell me down in the comments, are you a fresh turkey or frozen turkey kind of person? I would love to know. I have always purchased the frozen turkeys because they're less expensive, but I feel like a fresh turkey would probably maybe taste better? I don't know. Is there really a difference? I'm very curious. I'm tempted to try a fresh turkey this year. So if you've been hosting Thanksgiving for a while now, these tips I'm about to tell you are probably things you're already doing, but I definitely want to share these for any of you who are like me and newer to hosting Thanksgiving. This is only year 4 for me. One of the best tips that I can give you is to prep ahead of time as much as you possibly can. The night before, the day before, get your family involved. Put on a Christmas movie, get your family in the kitchen, get everybody peeling potatoes, chopping celery and herbs, get everybody together so that you can prep as much as you possibly can. Things you can do the night before, like making your cranberry sauce, prepping your pies for baking, make your casseroles and get those prepared to go into the oven. Think about it, a green bean casserole, you can put every single ingredient together except for your fried onions. Toss those on the next day right before you put them in the oven. One less thing you have to do the next day. Because if you're like me, you're literally vacuuming up until the second people walk in. So give yourself as much time as possible. Now, a few personal hacks that I have used over the last couple of years that have been incredibly helpful. Number 1, use chafing dishes when you are serving. A chafing dish is, on a sterno, it's got the heat underneath. You put the foil tin inside another foil tin and it just keeps everything warm, and you can just toss those top foil tins. Toss them. You don't even have to worry about washing them. Less things for you to wash and scrub. And if they're small enough, you can actually just put a whole bunch of leftovers in them, put your tin foil on top and give them to guests to take as leftovers to go. If you need extra space in your fridge and you live in a place like I do where it's cold, today it's only in the 40s. It was 26 this morning. You can use a cooler outside for extra fridge space. And if you don't live in a place that's cold, you can still use a cooler. Just make sure you load it up with ice. This is great to keep drinks, butter, anything that needs to go in the fridge but isn't super finicky, you can put in a cooler outside to use as extra fridge space. And it doesn't have to be outside. You can leave it indoors. For us, putting it outside is like basically putting it in the fridge. Another tip that's super helpful that I've been using is to set your table the night before. Do as much table setting as you possibly can. Maybe don't put out your plates. That's what we do. I don't put out the plates and I don't put out the flatware, but I put everything else out. Do all the decor, get all the candles out, make sure that's all done so that way it's one less thing I have to worry about. I bring up all the chairs from the basement. We put in all of the leaves in our table. We just do as much prepping the night before for the tables that we possibly can. And then finally, this is a strategy I use anytime we host or we have some kind of party, and that is to pre-label your serving dishes with sticky notes so you know what you're using for everything. So we put all of our food chafing dishes here. I take all this decor off the counter. I line up the chafing dishes here, and I literally will put a sticky note on each one so I know what's going in them. I make sure we have enough room. We put the salad and things like that over here on the island that don't require a chafing dish, but Just doing that ahead of time makes it easier for me the next day, and I make sure that I'm not missing anything. So the last tips that I want to give you before we get into cooking is about entertainment and creating the vibe in your home. I mentioned in my first video when we were doing our tablescape that my goal with setting our table is always to create a really cozy, comfy vibe. I want it to be beautiful and very aesthetic, but I also want people to feel cozy and comfortable when they sit down to eat together. And another way to make sure you're contributing to that is a great playlist. So create a playlist before people come over. I have one called Dinner. I like to have a dinner playlist. I'll link it for you down below. It is with Amazon Music. And what's great is I can play that anytime we're hosting for dinner. Beautiful, like yacht rock, and just background music that is soothing, has a good beat, but isn't gonna take away from conversation, and people aren't gonna have to yell over it. Put it on repeat, that way it doesn't run out and start playing random things. Put it on shuffle to keep it fun and interesting and not like you're just listening to the same 25 songs, and you're good to go. I also always print some to-dos for kiddos and adults alike. Things like word searches. You can do a fall like scavenger hunt. We've done all kinds of things like that. Fun like fall trivia or Thanksgiving trivia. I also do coloring sheets every single year, and then I use those, laminate them, and you can use them the following year for a placemat. So fun. And when you're prepping, set the vibe too. Light a candle, maybe put on a simmer pot. Like I said, have a good Christmas movie going on. My house will be fully decked for Christmas, so the Christmas tree will be lit. But create the vibe while you're prepping too, because I feel like that's also part of the holiday and the memories. My memories of Thanksgiving are always prepping with my mom and my Aunt Pam doing the turkey dance with the turkey, my Aunt Pam wearing this big old turkey hat looking ridiculous, those types of things. Like, those are the things you're going to remember. The meal is always the same, right? And it's good no matter what, but those memories of the prep, I think, are the ones that live with us the longest. Okay, so that's gonna do it for this part. Let's go ahead and get into cooking. We're gonna start with our pumpkin cheesecake so we can get that in the oven. While that's baking, we're gonna assemble a delicious, wonderful little charcuterie board with some baked brie. Gonna be fantastic. We're also going to make a delicious apple cider sangria. Let's get into it. I'm so ready for it. I made sure I worked out extra hard this morning so I can enjoy all of this. So the recipe that we're gonna be using today for our pumpkin cheesecake is from a blog called Lauren's Latest, and the author is Katie Cooksey. And I chose this recipe because it doesn't require a water bath and the baking time isn't outrageous. Let's see how it turns out. I'm excited. For this recipe, you're going to need a 9-inch spring pan. A spring pan just means that you can open this and take the bottom out. That's how you get that beautiful side of your cheesecake. So this is my 9-inch pan. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's because I put the butter in there. To make our crust, that's what we're gonna start with. You need a 1.75 cups of crushed graham cracker crumbs. You also need 6 tablespoons of butter and 5 tablespoons of granulated sugar. So I'm gonna go ahead and add our sugar in, and then we're gonna mix all of this together. And once it's fully combined, it's gonna look like damp sand. So there's our damp sand. Go ahead and grab your spring pan and put all your breadcrumbs in there. This bowl, by the way, was a set of 3. This is a recent purchase from Walmart from the Pioneer Woman collection. Absolutely love. Now the key to spreading this out is to take the back of a measuring cup, and that's going to give you that nice flat bottom. Don't be afraid to push it down and spread it out evenly. Once you've got it pretty evenly spread out, you're gonna go ahead and pop this into your oven, 350 degrees for about 7 minutes to bake this and get it nice and set. This recipe calls for 32 ounces of cream cheese. That's 4 8-ounce packages. I'm using the Philadelphia cream cheese. And it does say that it needs to be at room temperature. So I took mine out of the fridge yesterday. Our house is pretty chilly. It is that time of year. So I took it out yesterday so that it could come to room temperature. And the recipe says to start by creaming this. So we're for about 30 seconds or so. Make sure you get yourself a rubber spatula so that you can make sure you're getting everything combined. Or if you're like me and you were raised by Rachel Ray, it's a spoon. It's a spoonula. Okay. We're adding in 1 1/4 cups sugar. And we're gonna go ahead and combine this. Make sure that we're scraping the sides in between so that it gets fully combined. And if you want to be able to skip that step, get yourself a mixing attachment that has the little side scraper. I need to invest in one of those. All right, next up is 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Calls for 1 cup of Libby's pumpkin pie puree. So we're gonna go ahead, this can is 15 ounces, I believe. Yes, so we're gonna put about half, little smudgy more than half. You could like totally measure this out if you want to. I'm not gonna stress. 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. Oh, that smells delicious. And a teaspoon of cinnamon. I'm gonna put a little less than a teaspoon because I don't love cinnamon. Go ahead and combine all of that. Make sure you're scraping the bottom really well. So next up, you're gonna add in your eggs. You need 4 room temperature eggs. Again, I took these out last night and had them coming to room temperature. Go ahead and crack them and scramble them. And then we're gonna turn this on low and add them in slowly. You're gonna turn this off as soon as they're mostly combined. Scrape it again, and then just stir it until it's all the way combined, and then we don't wanna overstir. So that's what we're doing. Nice and slow. That looks mostly combined. So we're gonna go ahead and scrape the sides and the bottom, just to make sure everything gets fully combined. And we want our batter to be nice and smooth. Once it's fully combined, you're gonna go ahead and get the air bubbles. You'll see there's a bunch of air bubbles coming to the top. So I just gave it a good stir. A whole bunch of air bubbles coming to the surface. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick that up, but. So now we're gonna go ahead and pour our batter into our cake pan. I did turn the oven down. So once this comes out, turn the oven down to 325. And we're gonna go ahead and pour this in the center. It is going to fill it up. It's going to be very full. Don't panic. Grab your rubber spatula. We don't want to leave any of this goodness in here. I want to get it all. Go ahead and smooth it out. Oh, that looks so pretty. That's gonna be so good. We're gonna go ahead and pop this in our oven, our 325-degree oven, for 45 minutes. Then we'll drop the temperature to 250 and cook it another 45 minutes. Okay, next up we're gonna go ahead and make a Thanksgiving sangria or a fall sangria. Basically all that is apple cider that we're going to mix in some sparkling wine and some vodka. The recipe calls for this entire gallon of apple cider, and on Thanksgiving, I will definitely do that, and I'll do it in a bigger vessel than this one. However, for today, we're only gonna use half. I'm going to half the recipe because we don't need to make all of that, and I'd like for my boys to be able to drink the rest of this apple cider. So the recipe calls for 1 gallon of apple cider, 1 bottle of sparkling wine. I'm using La Marca Prosecco. This is sparkling Prosecco. This stuff is my favorite. Love it in a mimosa. The recipe also calls for 1 cup of vodka, but I'm using whipped cream vodka today because I just think that that would be delicious and add a little bit of extra, like, I don't know, sweetness, just delicious. And then it also calls for 2 bottles of ginger beer, and I am using 1 bottle of ginger beer. It also calls for 2 to 3 apples, or 2 to 3 slices of apples. So I've got my apples here. We're gonna put some in our sangria because it's gonna look really pretty, but we're also gonna leave some to garnish all the drinks. I also pulled out some caramel. This is sundae syrup, and this is really good to rim the glasses if people want a rimmed glass. Not everybody will want a rimmed glass because that could be a little bit sweet. So I'm also using this really great vessel here. This is what, I don't know what you call these, drink dispenser. This is from Better Homes and Gardens at Walmart. This top part, I believe the bottom part is as well. They're sold separately. I did get this last year or the year before. I honestly do not remember, but I will either link this one if I can, or I'll link one very, very similar. I love to have drink dispensers like this on hand. I do have a taller one as well. They're just great. This is a little bit of a smaller one, and I like it for today's purposes. I do have a bunch of ice already in there, and we're gonna kind of eyeball this. Like I said, it calls for 1 whole gallon, but I am using a half. This is just sweet apple cider. You can get apple cider that has like, what's it called? Like cinnamon in it. I already told you guys I'm not a big cinnamon person, but you could do that if you wanted to. All right, I think that's about half the gallon. I'm already ready to drink this. I love apple cider. I've got half a cup, like I said, of the whipped cream vodka. We're gonna go ahead and add that in. We need 1 bottle of the ginger beer. Of course, this is not a twist top. Go ahead and add that in. Ginger beer is non-alcoholic, by the way. And then it calls for an entire bottle of sparkling wine. So I'm gonna try to eyeball and put in half. It's gonna be hard because the bottle is opaque. If we put in a dash more, not the end of the world. Okay, I think that's all of it. Go ahead and give this a stir. And now we're gonna go ahead and add in some of the apples. You could, if you wanted to, toss in like a cinnamon stick. I think that would be very pretty. If I could just do it without the flavor. Okay, so I grabbed one of my little amber colored wine glasses that I shared with you in our tablescape video. As I mentioned, you could use this to rim the glass. Just put this in a shallow dish, or in an actual like sanding dish, like ones that you use to do the rims. And then you could just do 1 of the caramel, 1 of sugar, 1 of just caramel. My mouth is watering, but we're gonna skip that for me because we're just gonna give this a try. Because why not? We've got it in our glass. It is so pretty. We're gonna go ahead and garnish it with a little, with an apple slice. And let's go ahead and give this a try. Let's fall in the glass. It's almost like a mule. That's what it tastes like. It's like a big, giant jug of delicious fall mule. So good. This is gonna be a crowd pleaser for sure. You can absolutely make this kid-friendly by skipping the alcohol. Instead of doing the sparkling wine, you could do sparkling cider, and that would be delicious. Or you could just do, you know, an extra bottle. You could even do like some Sprite in there if you wanted to, or just do an extra bottle of the ginger beer, because the ginger beer does have some fizz to it. But if you wanted to keep that fizz, you could do Sprite, you could do ginger ale, you could do sparkling cider and make this, you know, alcohol free. For me and my house, we'll definitely be doing it this way, but I will also make sure that there is a sign that says for adults only. You could also make the everything else, the ginger beer and the apple cider, and leave out the vodka, and then you could just have the sparkling wine to the side, and people could just pour the sparkling wine in their glass, kind of like you do a mimosa. So plenty of ways to make it non-alcoholic, but so incredibly good. Okay, time to make our charcuterie board. You'll notice that I have changed my clothes, and that's because it is the next day. I had to let the cheesecake bake. It took a long time, then it has to cool in the oven for an hour. So that is done, and then it chilled overnight in the fridge. We're gonna look at that here in just a little bit. But now we're going to make our charcuterie board, and we're gonna start by making a delicious flaky baked brie. And we're gonna make it look like a cute pumpkin. I'm sure you've seen this on social media. So we've got our brie, and I also grabbed some flaky and layered puff pastry ready to go. So keeping it nice and simple. I've already started my oven, it says to bake at 425, so we've got that. And then we're also going to add in some sweetness, and we're gonna use an apple cranberry chutney. This is from Stonewall Kitchen, you guys. I love their chutneys, so good. Their jams, their jellies, everything. You can just find this at the grocery store. Sometimes you can find them where they keep like the fancy cheeses. Otherwise, you can find them in the jam and jelly aisle. This one I actually found at the end of the frozen food section. They have like a whole area where they have the Stonewall Kitchen things. So that's where I found this one. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up our brie, get it in the oven. This is probably one of the easiest little things you can make, because the half of the work is already done for you, because this is already rolled out and nice and smooth, so we don't have to worry about any of that. I love brie. It is so delicious and creamy, especially when you've baked it. All right, we're gonna start by spreading our chutney on. And we're gonna put a little on the bottom and the top, so we make sure we get some in every bite. Ooh, it's like smoky, interesting. It's not what I thought it was gonna be. All right. I'll put some more on top. Okay. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and wrap. And you have to work somewhat fast with dough like this, because as it softens, it will tear easily. And I'm just working it around, trying to get it as round as possible. Perfect. Now, if you have wax paper to be doing this on, that would be better, but I don't, I am out. This is from Hearth and Hand. I'm going to tie up our brie to make it look like a pumpkin. And you don't want to go too tight, because what's going to happen is while it bakes, it's going to fluff up, and that's what's going to give it those great lines, like a pumpkin. I'm gonna do one more, I think, this way. And I think that will be enough. Here we go. Now we're going to tie it carefully. This might be where an extra hand comes in handy. Daniel, can I have your finger, please? Thank you. I appreciate you. Excellent. All right. All right, I've got my baking sheet here, and I'm gonna put this on a silicone mat. We're all tied up, nice and round. I just made an egg wash, so we're gonna go ahead and put this on there. This is just egg that I've scrambled. And the goal is that this will make it nice and shiny. We're gonna go ahead and pop this in the oven, 425 for about, we're gonna start off at 30 minutes. You want it in the oven until it's golden brown and flaky. Okay, she's looking gorgeous. Go ahead and cut these strings off. We're gonna go ahead and use the cinnamon stick as our little stem. Perfect. And some sage. Oh, how cute. Now we're going to deck out and fill out the rest of our charcuterie board. And the thing you want to do now is just try to bring a little bit of cracker, a little bit of fruit, a little bit of cheese, a little bit of nut, and call it a day. I'm starting with these cute little bruschetta-tinis. We're gonna lay those out. Now, I like mine to look a little more rustic versus like, you know, perfectly put together. So that's what we're gonna do. Go ahead and put our nuts in a separate little bowl so that way if anybody is allergic, they're not getting that on the rest of the food. And it looks pretty. We've also got these cranberry pumpkin seed crackers. For something a little sweet, we have these Effie's homemade crisp and buttery, not too sweet biscuits. These are cocoa, because you always need something a little bit sweet. This smells so good. Next up, we're gonna do a little cheddar cheese. Make your life easy and buy the cracker cut slices so that they're ready to go. And I'm gonna leave these kind of towered up. like such. I also picked up these maple leaf sugar cookies. I found these in the cheese section, charcuterie section. They smell divine. Again, something sweet. The last thing we're gonna add in is some dried cranberries for some tartness and to just bring in that beautiful color. So pretty. Danny is blowing leaves, I apologize. Cheese with these cranberries is so good. And the last thing we're gonna do is bring in some greenery with some rosemary sprigs. They're not meant to be eaten. They're just meant to look nice. Okay, my friends, here is our charcuterie board looking amazing. You gotta love the little leaves, like so cute. The touches of the rosemary just brings everything to life. And Danny's blowing leaves outside, so there's that. But these are my favorite thing on here, these little chocolate biscuits. Oh my gosh, I've had about 4 since I've been filming this. These are incredible. They are just sweet effective. These are so good. These, a couple of these, an apple, like that would be a delicious little snack. These are so good. These, Effie's Homemade. Okay, here's our cheesecake. I will tell you that it smells incredible. I don't know what happened and why I got a big crack down the center. I know, before you tell me that I should have put it in a water bath, the recipe specifically stated that this was a non-water bath needing cake recipe. I think what happened, for the last hour, you leave your cake in the oven, but you, for the last half an hour, you leave it closed, and then the last hour you crack it so that it can cool. I think that it was just too chilled in the house that it cooled too quickly. I could be wrong, I don't know. It's gonna taste fantastic. I get a crack in almost all my cheesecakes and they taste fantastic. So we're gonna go ahead and put this on a cake tray. Again, Danny is blowing the leaves. We have, all the leaves are off the trees now and you can't even see our grass. And so he's working on that and I'm so sorry. It's very loud, but it has to happen. I'm using this glass cake tray. This is from IKEA. I am obsessed with the scalloped edges. And then there's also this really beautiful like flower etching on the bottom. It's underneath here. Absolutely stunning. And I just love this cake stand. And what's great is for these cakes, you're just going to pop open your spring pan. So you just pop that open, all right? And then you're going to very carefully pull it off. And there you go. Here is how the cake looks. Super good, right? And now we're going to work on getting it off of this and onto our cake stand. And when you slide, I'm using this is like an icing spatula for cake decorating. What you're gonna wanna do is push down and across when you're going under your cake, so that way you're not sliding through your cake crust. There we go. And we only left a little bit of our cake behind. This is how you know I'm not a professional. There's our cake, looking mighty fine. I will say that, I'm so sorry. He's right outside. I'm so sorry. But I will tell you, this looks absolutely stunning and it smells incredible. We are going to slice this open and taste it. Okay, let's go ahead and try it. It's the moment of truth. Wow. Wow. That tastes exactly like the Cheesecake Factory. That is so good. Okay, my friends, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me as we prepare for Thanksgiving. I hope you got some ideas. I hope that you also have the most beautiful holiday, and make sure you're subscribed. Come back for video number 3 in our Thanksgiving series, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, my friends.